Hi guys. Back again with me. How's it going, loyal viewers? I hope you are all healthy and happy. This time I will discuss an exciting and gripping movie called Get Away, 2024. This movie tells the story of a family who intends to heal on a remote, sunny island. However, behind its beauty, the island has a dark history, including acts of cannibalism that have occurred in the past. Are you curious about the story? Okay, without further ado, let's get straight into the discussion.
For a week or two for me.
As usual, the story opens with a scene featuring a harmonious family traveling to a remote island in the eastern part of Sweden. They want to refresh for a moment from the fatigue of the routine. On the way, the mother named Susan was browsing and told me that in 1824, the island they were going to was hit by a deadly flu epidemic, called the Bagong flu, and lasted for 2 years. As a result, hundreds of islanders died. The survivors suffered from severe hunger and stunting. Due to the extreme food crisis, they resorted to eating each other. Yes, they became cannibals. And to give you goosebumps, until now, every 10 years, the islanders always commemorate the dark tragedy by holding a festival called Karatan, which contains an 8-hour non-stop drama performance. Crazy, right? Hearing the story, the younger sister named Saris immediately got goosebumps and began to doubt the purpose of their vacation this time. Before leaving to cross to the island, Susan and her family stopped first to fill their stomachs. They decided to eat at a restaurant, and Susan's daughter Jessie chose to wait outside while enjoying the fresh air. But not long after that, they were shocked to find something strange in a nearby warehouse: a decapitated bird carcass. They were immediately confused and uncomfortable. After they finished eating, their father Richard announced that they were going on a vacation to Sparta Island, just in time for the 10th anniversary. Suddenly, someone named Enkos panicked and warned them. With a serious face, Enkos asked the family to cancel their vacation intentions, because the arrival of foreigners during the festival was strictly prohibited by the locals. However, Richard refused to cancel the plan, as they had already booked and planned everything. He reiterated that any risks that would occur were their own responsibility. Richard only responded with a chuckle, thinking Enkos had watched too many over-the-top horror movies. He then asked his family to get ready for the boat, while he went to complete the payment. But just as he was about to make the transaction...
What are you? So sweaty, you know?
Cash only.
Enkos again warned Richard in a serious tone, never to continue traveling to the island, as it was not a place that should be visited by outsiders, especially during the festival.
Richard! Yes?
Enkos also asked for payment to be made in advance, because too often passengers complained that they had left their wallets behind and ended up owing money. Richard suddenly remembered that he had left his wallet at the stall earlier. Not long after, Rika, Richard's wife, arrived with money and immediately paid for the entire trip.
After this boat, no more. For tickets, please. In case we sink.
Bend is... Come on!
All aboard the Skylark!
They immediately continued their journey to the island, although the atmosphere began to feel odd. Arriving on the boat, it was clear that their presence was attracting attention. The local passengers, who were natives of the island, stared at them with suspicion, as if the Richard family's arrival was something unwanted. Halfway through the journey, a large, bald man who claimed to be named Johan, approached them. In a friendly but somewhat suspicious manner, he offered a bottle of his own concocted drink.
Shall we?
I think I could have a look around the boat.
Oh, let's...
Upon arrival on the island of horror, the atmosphere was tense. As they got off the boat, the locals confronted them like they were chasing gas cylinder thieves. Then, a dignified old lady named Clara came and chased them away sternly, saying that the festival was about to start and the presence of strangers was highly undesirable. However, since they had already arrived, Richard's family insisted that their purpose was simply to take a vacation, not to disrupt local customs. Despite the rejection, Susan, who was getting annoyed, countered by stating that they actually wanted to commemorate her ancestor, a British descendant who had been killed by the islanders. This statement made the atmosphere even more heated. Amidst the tension, a young man named Mad arrived and tried to calm the situation. He offered to be in charge of Richard's family while they were on the island. Clara finally said in a cold tone, "Enjoy your vacation, because most likely, this vacation will be very short."
Shoes off.
After the tension had subsided, the family was taken to the house where they would be staying. They were quite amazed by the interior design, which was very much in line with Swedish culture. Mad explained some of the facilities and invited them to enjoy the accommodation that had been provided. While Richard and Susan were busy preparing food in the kitchen, Jessie felt her body start to feel unwell. But while taking a shower, Jessie suddenly felt something was wrong. She heard a strange sound, like a faint whisper from behind the mirror in her bathroom. Her eyes kept staring at the mirror with curiosity mixed with fear. Later that night, the atmosphere became even more tense. From outside the house, there were noises that broke the silence. In the midst of the discomfort that continued to disturb her, Susan, who was getting annoyed, shouted from inside the house, telling whoever was out there to leave and stop disturbing her family.
What are you doing?
The next morning, Jessie finally got up the courage to talk to her father. With a worried face, she revealed that she felt like someone was watching them since yesterday. When she takes a shower, she says, she really feels like someone is peeking out from behind the mirror's reflection. Richard tried to calm her down and said that they would find out what really happened in this place.
Can I come in?
He didn't want to make his daughter panic without clear evidence. Shortly after, Richard went to Mad and expressed his concerns. He recounted the disturbance they had experienced last night, as well as the fact that someone had inexplicably left a ferret carcass near their house. The stench was still there until morning. Hearing the report, Mad looked serious and promised to talk to the residents soon so that the matter could be resolved. He asked Richard to remain calm and not take any rash action. Meanwhile, the atmosphere at the pier turned tense when the local police discovered that Nkos and his wife had been found dead. Their bodies were found floating, as if they had been dumped after being victims of something so heinous. What exactly happened to the old couple? Is this related to Nkos' earlier warning?
There we go. Hang on, no. I love you, Mummy.
Oh, look. It's your one of his eggs.
What is it? One! Quite far away.
Back to Richard's family, they began to notice other oddities. While walking around the village, they saw the villagers carrying 4 coffins into an old building. Everything was done secretly but very organized. Richard couldn't help but wonder. What was the meaning of all this? Why 4 coffins? And who would fill them? Rather than continue puzzling, they tried to distract themselves. Jessie's suspicions are proven correct. She discovers that Mad has secretly installed hidden cameras in various corners of the villa, all to satisfy his desire for the lascivious spectacle recorded from the guests without them knowing. The villa is not just a vacation spot, but a devious trap. Meanwhile, on the docks of Sparta Island, a detective named David has just arrived. His purpose is clear, to investigate the tragic deaths of Nkos and his wife. David suspects that the culprit is Johan, a bald thug known as a recidivist. The dock officer, Sonny, advises David to be careful, as Johan is not a random person.
I'm sorry to...
Dare you interrupt my rehearsal?
A bearded man named Steven then explains that they haven't seen Johan for the past year. There were rumors that he was dead, but there was no proof. Elsewhere, Clara suddenly appears and asks David to leave, saying that she doesn't want any disturbance to the festival preparations and rehearsals. Her words are cold, almost a veiled threat. After wandering around, Richard's family stopped by a shop. There, a man named Ilya suddenly said that their coming to this island was a big mistake.
Not a play.
You will.
The locals look strange, like they're acting out a role in a play, but with a creepy gaze. Arriving at the room, Jessie was surprised because her underwear, a baby's shirt and pants, had mysteriously disappeared. She had a strong feeling who the culprit was, although she had no real evidence. She approaches the mirror, and slowly realizes that they have been watched through the two-way mirror hidden in the villa. In the evening, things heat up. The villagers gather in a secret place. Clara stood at the front and announced that this festival would be different. This year, they will not just celebrate, but also make a real sacrifice. And the sacrifice chosen was Richard's family, because they were from England, a country that had a dark history with the islanders' ancestors. The villagers were excited. Everyone agreed, and before long, Clara met Mad to convey the plan for the ritual that would be carried out tomorrow. Mad was asked to render Richard's entire family unconscious, so that the sacrifice could take place with ease. Without much question, Mad agreed to the request. In the morning, the Karang Tanjung festival officially started. At the beginning of the event, they disguised it as an FTV drama to trick Richard's family.
The mainland is still rife with disease. One must endure.
No, they were dead.
I'm afraid.
Then, they served 4 cakes that had been poisoned. Unsuspecting, Richard and his family immediately ate them. Moments later, in a secret surveillance room, residents were seen monitoring the family's every move through a monitor screen. One by one, the family members began to lose consciousness. They fell down, fainting from the poison in the food. But Mad, who feels she still has time before handing the family over to Clara, suddenly lusts after Jessie. His dirty intentions are almost carried out, but it only triggers the anger of Richard's family, who are only pretending to faint. In style, the Richard family gets up and prepares to finish off the entire island. They are not an ordinary family, but come from a noble lineage that has martial arts skills and military strategies. In a short time, they managed to subdue most of the residents. Richard then ordered Jessie and Sam to head to the harbor and finish off whoever was left. That night, they arrive at the watch post and prepare a cunning, playing victim drama to attract attention.
Mama,
On the other hand, in the middle of the forest, Clara tries to escape with Lara, but the frightened Lara wants to hide. Instead, Clara says firmly that she would rather die fighting than hide like a coward. Right behind them, a mysterious figure cosplaying as Zilong appears, complete with a long spear and a Mobile Legends warrior-style costume. Whether he's part of the event or a new threat, it's all becoming increasingly absurd. On the other hand, local security forces are overwhelmed by reports of a brutal massacre that has just taken place. Many victims have fallen, including several village elders, leaving only Clara and Stephen as survivors. Knowing this, Richard again ordered his family to continue their mission. After successfully frightening the villagers, he asks them to gather to strategize.
To win so badly.
Hey!
Richard's family easily eliminated the remaining citizens of Sparta, leaving Clara and Stephen as the island's only hope. Elsewhere, a team of supervisors who had just woken up from their sleep were shocked by reports of a bloody tragedy on Samata Island. Before they had time to organize their actions, everything had happened too fast. Later that night, in front of the campfire, a person known as Massage is seen conversing with the narrator of the story. With a serious face, he thanked them for their help in carrying out their mission. The narrator, who turns out not to be Richard's biological son, is merely a mercenary recruited to make the mission of exterminating the islanders a success. As a reward for his success, he demands a promise: double the pay for a near-perfect mission. Richard invited all team members to rest in the villa. But the tranquility doesn't last long. They soon realized that Clara and her husband Stephen had entered the villa first. Quickly, they moved to the control room to execute the cover-up strategy. There, many CCTV monitors were active, showing the corners of the villa and around the island. Jessie, who witnessed everything, then said that she had suspected all this strangeness from the beginning, but she chose to keep quiet because she wanted to see how this would end and make Richard happy before everything was completely closed. At the dock, Detective David had just arrived and immediately fell silent at the horror that enveloped Samata Island. Meanwhile, despite having been shot, Jessie only felt nauseous and constipated, as if her body was immune to bullets. In that tense atmosphere, Clara asked about the whereabouts of her parents. However, one of them casually suggested that Clara look for them herself, just to make it more exciting. Without delay, Stephen immediately moves to find them. However, he was shocked when he saw the state of the match, which was already messy like the ingredients of Seblak. In the midst of shock, a man's voice was suddenly heard crying, making the atmosphere even more absurd. Clara was amazed when she witnessed the Capet family's supernatural powers. Even though Richard's hand was stumped, the man stood tall and didn't seem to be in the slightest bit of pain. The same goes for Jessie, who seems completely unaffected by the previous attack. Convinced that her husband is dead, an emotional Clara goes on the attack, but unfortunately, Detective David thinks Clara is the main perpetrator of the massacre. Without hesitation, David finishes her off on the spot. The Capet family saw this moment as a golden opportunity. They immediately pretended to be victims and played the role of playing victim perfectly. Meanwhile, Johann, who had been hiding on the boat, could only surrender when he was also accused of being one of the perpetrators of the massacre, even though he had done nothing.
That was the best holiday ever!
He became a scapegoat in this bloody tragedy. Richard's family, who are considered survivors, are then evacuated by the police, still in a strong and intact condition. The movie reaches its end. As it turns out, this whole incident was an act of revenge by the Capet family, who had been disguised as tourists. Their goal is only one: to avenge their ancestors who were supposedly slaughtered and eaten by the people of Sparta Island. Who is right and who is wrong is now unclear. But one thing is for sure, the Capet family managed to slaughter all the islanders, all in the name of past revenge. That's my review and discussion of the movie Gateway, 2024. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, so you don't miss other interesting videos on this channel.